Sound good.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Tonight is December 14th, correct?
Yep.
And our monthly meeting of the Three Rivers Ranch Road District, 7 p.m. In attendance is Cole Brasheen, Vice President, Ken Cully, President. Um, I've got three topics for tonight. Number one, I do want to talk about the flooding situation. I want to get into circle back to the pavement project we talked about last month,
Mhm.
and just some brief paperwork. And I'll start with that.
Okay.
When we, I guarantee, back in March, when I contacted the IRS and got that confirmation letter about our tax exempt status, the 501c. That termination letter must have triggered the Oregon Charitable Activities Department. I'm not even certain of their name, to be perfectly honest. But they're the ones, they've contacted me a couple times through the summer here. And long story short, I got a letter from them this week. They're still waiting on me to get them a copy of our bylaws. But they said in their letter, they were very specific in that they were willing to be patient and wait on them. And they went ahead and got us registered with their department. And the letter, that was kind of the front side of the letter. The back side was like a tax form.
Okay.
Whereas, enter this amount on line one, this amount on line two. So I did a little research. They asked for our ending balance on our checking account as of the end of our fiscal year, and they know that's June 30th. So clearly they're in touch with the other departments of Oregon, the Business Association department. So they asked for our ending balance, our revenue for last year. Basically, it was a form for the from July 1st of 2022 to July 1st of this year. And we have plenty of time to send it in, but they asked for our balance, any charitable donations that we had given this year, which I entered zero. Subtract line 11 from line 12, and that's your number, which came out to 23,490 something, I believe, was our balance at July 1.
Okay.
Take that amount and multiply it by 0.0001. And that is how much we owe this charitable department. So this week, they want a copy of our IRS termination letter, which I've got that copy. And they are asking for a check, apparently, for $2.34.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's another one of those Oregon State departments that we are now on their radar, on their record, registered. We've got a registration number from them.
Okay.
So I guess this is
Yeah.
the price to pay for being fully engaged with the state now and the IRS and all that. This is
Yeah.
just another department that's reaching out to us. So
Well, I guess if anyone were to ask or, wonder why we're getting caught up in this when a lot of people would say, well, we never needed that before. We never, what has changed? Now, to the way I understand it is we have some hope of receiving grant money, and we haven't actually received any grant money. But this step, registering as a 501c3 or something like, but whatever the chapter is in the Internal Revenue Code, it qualifies us to receive grant money. So
correct.
I think $2.43 a year, very cheap price to pay for
Good. Yep.
being
Yep.
eligible to receive grant money. So I'm all in favor of it. Sorry you had to jump through all those hoops. I know it's a pain in the ass, but
It caught me off guard a little bit, but like I
Yeah.
said, I guarantee the letter to the IRS, because it asks right on there, the front has a questionnaire, and I answered no to all of them except for one. And that one question was, have you received a determination or rejection letter from the IRS during this period of time? And of course, I had to answer yes to that. So I believe that's what got us on their radar. And yes, now it does, God forbid, if we ever have to apply for an emergency grant, this does get us on that on their radar. So the application process would be streamlined as standard bureaucracy, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it is. In the end, it's a good thing. Um, just
Well,
another one of those departments.
yeah,
So
for sure. You know,
yeah, yeah.
anticipating a time when you and I, you know, drop dead of heart attacks or whatever, and somebody else has to take over all this mess. We might want to make sure that this determination letter, at least, maybe whatever the critical correspondence is with the state charitable donations bureau or whatever they are,
Mhm.
that we have that on file. And
Oh
it's much
yes.
convenient now. I've got everything, most everything that's important for the last several years is on our Google Drive. So if you have a way to scan or maybe just take a picture of um, these letters that you've been getting, just so I can put it in the Google Drive, and that way somebody else has to take over. They'll be able
Sure,
to do this and understand what this is all
I
about.
can do that. I don't have a scanner here, but Shelley has one that I can access anytime. And
Okay.
I agree. These should be. I was surprised that I didn't have an electronic copy of the IRS letter. I honestly thought I did, and it kind of surprised me. And then I got to looking through our files, and I found it in there, the paper copy only. So I agree. Yeah, this definitely needs to be. And come to think of it, I've got a ton of stuff in a folder on my laptop. I'm happy to upload that to our Google file.
Okay.
I can do that. So that's a good project for this month. I will scan some pertinent documents, get them uploaded. And, if I have any questions on the Google file, I'll let you know. I'm not as fluent as you with that computer stuff, but we use Google at work and I'm slowly getting the hang of it. I don't like their email, to be honest, but that's another story. But yeah, I can certainly do that. And I've been into our Google file. I have seen that, so I know it's there. And I believe I can get them uploaded myself. But if I have any questions, I'll reach out to you
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
list everything clearly, what it is, what I'll give it a proper, clear, concise title to it. So there's no question. And that sounds like a good project for me. I can do that.
Yeah. And if you do have any questions at all, just let me know and we can
Thank you.
work
Thank
through.
you. Yep. Yeah, that would be great to have it all on that file. So, and it is. We are expanding our, you know, contact list. Just the state, the SDAO, and now it's the state business registry. Now it's the IRS. Now it's a charitable organization. So we are doing what we should. But
Yeah.
yeah, keeping precise records is going to be critical going forward. So
Yeah. And
not
being
a
able
problem.
to point these state agencies to, here's our Google Drive, here's all of our records. You can
Yep.
look at it if you have any questions, it's all on the up and up. It's all right there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, great. So that's that. I'm gonna send them, I haven't got the copy back. It's at Shelley's house, but I'm hoping to send that out by Monday.
Okay.
We have until March, so we got plenty of time, but I'll get it out the door and I will save a copy as well, excuse me, of the form letter they sent us, to begin with. And in my spare time, I still need to get them their bylaws. I believe we used to have them, but I don't know if anybody's ever got a copy of them anywhere. Yeah.
I may have seen them. That vaguely rings a bell, but where, I have no idea.
Yep. Yep. That's just it. And that's okay. Since we are getting to know or getting reacquainted with these departments. It's okay if we redo them for the future for our current status. So, and she sent me a website. So it gives you basically step by step. So it's just one thing I've been putting off, but we can make it happen. So that's that. The flooding. Uh, Last Saturday, I took a drive down to the old bridge and I didn't really get very far. Shame on me. I saw Gordy and Joan had their RV on this side of the bridge already. So smart move on their part. Um, we never did hear an email back from Chris Laity that I'm aware of on the structural integrity of the bridge.
Well, let's see. He replied to your email. I saw the reply saying he planned to send someone out. That may have been the last one that I saw, but I think we did well, Gary across the street told me that he had been seeing the county um workers, county trucks. One of the people from the county said that they had tried on the day that Chris said he would send them out, but they hadn't been able to get across. They were going to come back the next day. And then a day or two later, I talked to Gordon, just walked across the way over there, and Gordon said that they had been out, that he had seen Chris Laity on the site, but he'd not been able to talk to Chris.
Okay.
So I know that the county is paying attention. I think that Gordon said something. I forget how he learned this, but maybe he talked to someone on Chris Laity's team. We probably ought to talk to Gordon and get this information firsthand, but it sounded to me like the county, just based on what Gordon was saying, is the county does not have an immediate plan for fixing that bridge, but I believe it's not passable now. And it looks like the footing has been completely washed away on the near side. Gordon showed me that the whole bridge is just resting on a tree trunk, just part of a tree trunk that's in the water now. And that's why they have their vehicles parked over on your side of that bridge. So
All right.
Gordon and his son were standing out there on the day that I walked over, and they were both just saying, well, something's got to be done immediately. The county's got to do something immediately. But they didn't have any expectation that Chris Laity was actually going to do anything. So don't know what's going to happen here.
That's not a great situation. It's it is in large part out of our hands. I love to pull a miracle out of my back pocket, but that's certainly not. This is ultimately Chris Laity's job, and that he has to respond to them and come up with an action plan of some kind. I hope that this expedites the process of getting that road built that they talk about, that Island Road, getting that up and going. But
that's what Gordon seems to think the only solution is to put in the Island Drive Road. And I've heard, he didn't mention this the other day, but I've heard Jacob say before that, he thinks that's easy to do. He could get, what's his name, down the road, Darcy, to put in a culvert in just a few days. Boom, boom, it'd be done. I told my next door neighbor, Charles, that. He said, well, if they do that, I will sue. He said that will erode his property even further. So would be entirely on his property, and it would flood Jones' property for sure. Because the culvert, all that gravel, Charles said you could not put in a culvert big enough to contain the water that we saw coming down here this last time. So he said what would happen if we'd had a culvert there is it'd be up in Jones' house, and it'd totally eat his bank away. So he said, and was kind of conflating me with yeah, Charles is a nice guy, doesn't have any personal animosity toward me, but he said, if you guys do that, he said, you can bet I'm gonna sue. I'm gonna sue you. You can't do that without having the county bring in engineers and doing that the right way. He said you could do it the right way, and he would fully support doing what he actually suggested was, he said, why don't you just get the county to move that metal bridge, just pick that metal bridge up, move it over here so you've got a bridge instead of a culvert. He said that would be okay. Wouldn't cause the backup that all that gravel and a culvert would. I have no idea whether that's actually practical or not. But
And I think that's why the county is balking at that idea, because they expect when they put in a bridge, to have at least a 40, 50 year lifespan out of it.
Yeah.
And the way Chris explained it to me, the way that river changes course every few years, it's just not practical. It just wouldn't be worth the effort and the money
Yeah.
to put in something that's where the river is going to divert in a few years, and they're out completely on that investment.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they were leaning away from putting that bridge in there. So, you know, we haven't heard from Chris, and ultimately we need to find out what their thoughts are on this. I will follow up with another email to him. I wish he would have replied to my email. Whatever the hell Gordy was told, we don't know. We're kind of in the dark on what
Yeah.
was explained to him. So I need to stop down there. I'm going to be going out. The only reason I didn't get too ambitious on last Saturday was because I knew we were getting that fresh rain Saturday night.
Hmm.
And it's like, why get too crazy now? Let's see what the weekend and see what it looks like after Saturday night. So this
Yeah.
coming weekend, I know that the county did do some work at the main bridge because there was a log jutting out a couple of feet, and that's gone now. So I know they cleared a lot of debris away. There is still some down there. There's some right on the bridge guardrail, which I'm going to remove. I
Are you
may
gonna do
get
that yourself?
I may get Kumar involved as well.
Okay.
And we may spend a couple hours, but yeah, we're going to try and at least get some of that log jam that's there out of the way. I don't want to get too ambitious with it. It's really,
Yeah.
but see what we can do with that. And
Some
then
of
I'm
our
going,
work
I'm going
gets
to,
to be kind of dangerous if if we if we did have an accident while working with those big logs, and for example, Kumar got hurt.
yeah,
Do we have insurance as a road?
we do that. I believe that's what our insurance, our bond is for as well,
Okay.
for personal injury. I'm quite certain we're covered in case of injury. But how exactly it flows, whether it's through our insurance or whether it's that bond that we have, that surety bond through CNA. Um, what precisely that indemnifier covers for us, but I believe that has to do with personal injury as well.
Yeah.
So we're not going to take too many chances. We're not going to get too involved in it, but I'm going to see what I can do. At the very least, I can get some of that stuff off of the guardrail. I don't know where I'm going to go with it. I hate to dump it just off in the neighbor's yard, but I did meet Joe Chase. He's a guy moving into that A-frame between the two rivers. He's been working on that for a few weeks. I'm going to bring him his mailbox key here this weekend.
Okay.
He really, I mean, his front yard was a lake. He's
Yeah.
probably thinking, having second thoughts about what he's purchased right about now. But
Yeah, I
you know,
didn't see that, but people have been telling me that his property was seriously damaged by the flood.
I don't know about his property itself, the A-frame house. I don't know. I don't think he was two, if there was damage to his house, he didn't tell me specifically when I
Okay.
talked to him. But I could tell his front yard was just, you could see that it had been underwater. I mean, everything, the grass was just crushed flat, so. Yeah, he bought a hell of a property down there. I think he's gotta be having second thoughts at this point. But
Yeah.
buyer beware, I suppose.
I guess. Well, do you know, like when we worked with that company to get that big cedar that fell off of Joe Stark's property,
Hmm.
I know they put that most of it at least back on Joe's property. Um, I guess with Joe's permission. But the all that wood, those tree trunks and whatnot that have washed down, they weren't originally on Joe Chase's property, right? So do you know if it's going to be, I mean, he might not want them um,
I agree. Yep.
property. I don't know who to talk to or what to do in a situation like this, but
I agree. Yeah. What do you do with the log debris?
yeah,
Um, I am gonna push it off to the side of the creek for the time being. Any large things we pull out of there. And worst case, I can bring my chainsaw, cut it up into lengths. I'm sure somebody would be interested in it at some point.
good, yeah,
So, or there's got to be a removal service of some kind if we get to that point. Um, we'll get rid of it one way or the other. I know Jody's got a mess at her house, and that's why I hesitate to throw any more stuff on there.
yeah.
But so yeah,
Did you did you
you
happen to
know,
have an email address or I'm sure you got a phone number for this Joe Chase. Did
uh,
any contact information for him?
he just left me a note. Let me see if his phone number is on there. Uh, uh, Hmm. No, he does not leave a phone number here, just his address, 19595. So
Okay. Well,
basically, I know to look for his truck down there. I expect he'll be there this weekend.
okay. Yeah. He would
So
be too hard to reach. And I guess we can just tell him we didn't really have any other choice. Well, we do kind of have the choice of just saying, this is the county's problem. It's the county's bridge. This is debris that washed downstream. It's not anything to do with the roads and, tough luck.
I
Unfortunately,
did kind of, I did kind of impress that upon him when I
yeah,
spoke to him Saturday. I've made it very clear that, we are the road district, but the bridges belong to the county.
yeah,
So, yep, he is aware of that. And he didn't seem too flummoxed by the whole thing. He was kind of taking it in stride when I talked to him. So, but yeah, he's in a precarious situation there, no question. Um, we know that you and I, you probably better than I know that we get this once a year, it seems. We get
yeah,
this November, December atmospheric river that comes through and raises hell with us.
yeah. Well,
So,
this was worse than any
oh
that
yeah,
I've seen before, but uh, it does
yeah.
happen regular.
I never seen the likes. I was kind of like, oh Christ, and it makes you wonder what the future holds. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And and for our part, my big philosophical question on this is, if it happens once a year, and it just inconveniences the crap out of us for a day or two, how much money do you throw at that? You know, how much are you willing to invest for something that comes and goes in 48 hours? Um, how much are we responsible for? I'm trying to come up with those answers, but thank God the river eased off when it came down, and things got back to normal. I should look at some sort of formal sign from the county, two signs that we can post on either side of that bridge for when this happens again. High water, bridge flooded, whatever. That might be something we could look into as just a simple warning to not try and cross the bridge. But beyond that, again, how much are we responsible for? How much would we invest in something that only happens once a year for a weekend? And so not a great situation, but again, you notice I didn't get to the Facebook page was lighting up. A lot of people were talking on Facebook. I stayed out of it. I did not add my 2 cents to it at all.
Yeah.
So it was mostly upbeat. Nobody threw us under the bus or anything like that. So anyway, yeah, the flood is come and gone. I'll see Joe this weekend. I'll see Gordy as well.
Okay.
And I'll send out an email this week to Chris. And, since he never got back to us, shame on him. And we'll get the information that he gave to Gordy, find out what his plan is, and
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah, that sounds good. And I'll look back through my email and see if maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe Gordon did send me something.
Okay.
But I just don't remember. Maybe it was something he just told me while I was over there.
I recall the email from Chris saying the county tried to get through on the one day but could not, and then the next day they were going to try again. And indeed, I did see the trucks myself when I came home that second day, and I saw a county truck going down there, so I knew they'd been active in the area.
Was that
But
the email that kind of, it looked like Chris is trying to limit their responsibility by saying that it looks to them like the river is trying to find a new course? Was that in that email? Or am I thinking of something else?
that doesn't ring a bell. I don't recall that part of it. I could be mistaken on that. But
That's what I'm
that is,
remembering that I need to look for. And maybe that email didn't go to you, but I'll find it if I can.
and I do recall clearly that was their sticking point about putting a new bridge in, and that they are certain that the river will change course in a few years and they won't get their bang for their buck.
Yeah.
Which is why they just don't want to do it. This is why they're trying to push for the road to go through. So that's a situation for another day, as far as I can tell. I'm not even gonna speculate on what their plan is, what their timeline is. I'm glad they showed up. I'm glad they saw what they saw. Hopefully this will expedite our project or expedite this bridge or road or whatever the hell they got planned and put us on the map to get it done.
Yeah.
Some sort of plan. I don't know. I know it's not a great situation. So anyway, and finally the paving project. I took a quick drive around. That area at the end of Salmon Drive that roundabout,
Mm-hmm.
it's much smaller than I had anticipated. So I see no reason why we cannot get them to do that roundabout. And also the corner at Three Rivers there, Three Rivers and Salmon,
Mm-hmm.
kind of finish off that gravel area and possibly extend out onto Big Trout Road, down by the old bridge, push that out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to have Geddes look at those three projects and see what they can do.
Yep, I think that makes sense to me. And it might make sense to just push the paving out in the direction of your place, from where it stops there at the culvert. Just pave around a little bit. Maybe if they can pave into Salmon Drive, the gravel area, the connection between Three Rivers and Salmon Drive, and then just push it out a little bit on both ends of Big Trout. If they could do all that, then
Okay.
I'd be real happy.
I'll give them a call. If I can meet with them, great. If not, I may ask you to meet with them.
Yeah.
We'll have a date set up and just so they can get us an estimate well before the season begins. and we can get on their list. So I'll give them a call. We'll set it up. So
Right. Well, thank you.
my cat is going crazy and my food is boiling over. I need to wrap this up.
All right. Well, let's
So,
be done, but yeah, it seems good to me.
all right, Nicole. Well, I tell you what, if I don't talk to you, Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Okay. You too, Ken.
And
Pass-
I'll get started on getting those forms uploaded and we'll go from there.
Very good. Yeah. Say hi to Shelley.
Fantastic. Will do. All right. Good night.